guys, got another awesome Kapow Toys review for you today. As always, description down below, got the links there, www.kapowtoys.co.uk. We've also got the link for the blog and some other bits and pieces down there, so go and check those out. Obviously, as you can see, up today we have the Combiner Wars Leader Class Ultra Magnus. And for me personally, this is one of the figures that I have been looking forward to the most this year, just because I think he looks really good. We saw lots of pictures of this guy before he was released, and now I've got him in hand, I'm not disappointed. He's a really, really nice looking figure, and once you get him in hand, he's still really nice. I really like this guy. Chock full of articulation, some nice features, nice weapons, and I think he's a really, really good figure. He obviously comes with the two weapons, which you've obviously seen in many of the pictures. This weapon, I have had a look through some of the comics, and this is like a really good, nice, accurate IDW gun, so that's good. He does come with this gun, which as a gun is a bit rubbish looking. It does, as I'm sure many of you have seen, you take his shoulder missile launchers off, and you can make a Magnus hammer, which is cool. I really like that feature, and you can peg these two guns together and have a big hammer, and then he will hold this like that, and he will have a big hammer, which is cool. I quite like that. Personally, if I'm going to have a hammer, I prefer how he looks with a slightly shorter handle, so it's more like a battle hammer, I suppose, and a hammer and a gun, and he still holds that hammer, so you can have a hammer and a gun. But for myself, Ultra Magnus needs his shoulder missiles. I personally would have preferred it if they'd have given us one gun and one hammer, because the second gun I don't really like the look of. Maybe some people do, but I don't. But there we go, that doesn't take away from it. It's an extra thing. They didn't need to give that to us, so I really like that. There's no official weapon storage on him anywhere, but I have found that the gap at the back here is just the right size that you can store his weapons if you want to. Well, one. Can you fit another one on the other side? You should do it this way. You can fit them both. So you can store his weapons on the back there, and then they display this. He's displayed when his weapons are stored on the back. So that's good. And obviously in here he has got the little minifigure, which I really like. I love the fact that if you've read the comics, you will have seen that Ultra Magnus is now just a big suit of armor with this guy inside it. And I like that fact. I thought that was quite a clever little twist to the story, and I love that Hasbro went with it and have stuck this guy in there. I think that's really awesome, and I love the detail they've gone to with that. I mean, you can see it's like a working cockpit in here. He's got the pedals, and his hands actually hold on to some levers inside there, and on the inside of his head there's like a viewfinder with a crosshairs in there. I'll try and kind of zoom in on that in a minute. And you've got kind of like dials and dashes and things in that. So that's really, really cool. I like it. And if I get this guy out, this leg seems to like to stick in there. So we get him out, and you can close this all back up. And if you really hate it, because I've known on some of the groups and the things and that, and the vocal people seem to really, some people seem to really dislike the fact that it came with this guy. And I honestly don't know why. It's a great little feature, a little extra. And, you know, if you don't like it, if you don't like him, don't worry about it. There you go, you've still got a really good Ultra Magnus, and you don't need to worry. You can pretend this thing doesn't exist. Scale-wise, he is that sort of scale. You know, he scales with the Target Master things that come with the Legends. And his transformation is really simple. His legs just fold up. Well, his back kind of is on this double hinge, and you have to push it up like that. And then his legs just collapse on themselves, and then his arms peg in there. And then he's a little floaty hover car. And, you know, he's still the same sort of scale as these. So yeah, that's that. And Ultra Magnus. I've seen a few people have moaned about the way he holds onto his weapons. Yeah, he drops his weapons. He does. But, you know, there we go. I can't defend it because he does drop his weapons. He doesn't hold on to them super tight. He holds on to them well enough. You know, if he's going to be put on display, he'll hold on to them. If you're going to be playing around and trying to pose it, pose him, put the weapon in, and then leave it, and it'll be fine. But if you're playing around with it with like the weapon in, it's more than likely he'll drop it. This hand is a tighter grip than this hand. But yeah, it is what it is. Doesn't really take away much from the figure for me, because yeah, it's just holding onto the weapons. You know, you can pose him how you want, get him in the display you want, and then get your gun. It's not a gun. Then get the gun, put it in his hand. Okay, now he's not holding it, and get the grip, and there you go. He holds it well enough. Just bring in his head so you can get a look at his head. Come on, focus. Maybe if I move my hand out of the way. Sorry for that jarring cut there. So there is Ultra Magnus's face. And that's a really nice sculpt. I really like it. It looks a lot like Ultra Magnus, and I think they've done a great job. You know, there's nice little details in here. You know, you can see workings and bits and pieces. And I really like this guy. You know, he's got great articulation. The sculpt is good. I just like it all round. It's a nice addition to my collection. Now, scale-wise, I've got a few bits and pieces here to give you an idea of scale. There he is with Hasbro. Oh, his name escapes me. Swerve. I remembered. There's Hasbro's Swerve. Here he is with Toy World's Orion. Still the best Prime, probably. Here he is with Combiner Wars Prime, which is also a really good Prime. A lot of people don't like it, but I think it's a really good Prime. Skids. Another leader class, Megatron. That works pretty good. Megatron's a bit of a weird one for scale, but he's a nice figure. And just to bring in something else from Combiner Wars, there he is with Menasor. And obviously Menasor's got the Perfect Effect upgrade kit, which makes him that little bit bigger. Which if you don't have, that's something that's definitely worth picking up. And Menasor's just knocking everything over. Okay then, so to transform this guy, obviously you see me transform, what's his name, Minimus, Minimus, this guy. So to transform Ultra Magnus, you want to start by taking off the rocket launchers. And then these are on a double hinge. You swing them round till they click and they cover up the wrists, the hands. Oh, you know, I didn't cover articulation. Sorry, let me just do that quickly. Because he doesn't have any articulation on his wrists, which is a shame, and I can understand why, because you've got this gap for the hammer, but it would have been nice to have a swivel on the wrist. But that's the only bit of articulation that's really lacking. You could also have had a bit on the ankle, but he is sculpted in such a way that he'll get the right stance that you want most times. So he's got the full 360 on the shoulders. They do go out like that there. He's got the bicep swivel and a nice joint on his elbow. No waist articulation, just because of the way he transforms. No, he's got no waist articulation. Good ratchets on his hips. He does have the thigh swivel and good ratchets on his knees. His head doesn't go up and down, but it goes left and right. And that's about it for the articulation. So he's got enough there. You can get the decent poses out of him. So yeah, now we'll transform this guy. You want to pop these round and down like that. Same on both sides. And put the arms all the way down until they click. Like that, and you want to keep them straight, and then just put them out of the way. And probably do the legs. So you come around to the legs, you unclip there, and unclip there, you got a tab, and it pegs into there, you just unclip that, and straighten that out. And then you pull out, there's a tab in there, that goes into a little slot there. You pull that out, and twist it all around, and then that tab goes into a little slot just there, and that clips in. And then the feet come around on the double hinge, and they go in like that, and that's pretty much one leg done. And it's just the same on the other side. And then you bring the hips all the way up like that, and just keep them out to the side for a minute. I'm going to pull this chest piece down, and that will kind of slot into that gap you have in there, and that kind of all clips together. Then the legs clip together, and that holds that all in place like that for now. And then you lift up the head, open up the chest, pop the head in there, and close up the cab. Bring that up. You got 2 holes, 2 tabs. Pop that in there, and then you bring this whole section round like that. Now these red sections, you got the holes to the tabs. Just pop them in like that. And then that is his legs done. Come around to the arms, swing them all the way around on both sides, and then they will tab together at both ends, like there. And they tab. You got the tabs and the tabs. Pop them in there. Okay, and then peg and a hole on either side. And you just clip it in like that. And that's pretty much him in truck mode. And you have 2 choices. You can have him so the cab is close up like that. Oh, and then you just put the rocket launcher on. Sorry, let me just do that. And then they're out of the way. Yeah, so you can have the cab close up to the body like that, and it doesn't move. Or if you want, you come under, pull it down. So like that, you pull down and then forwards. And then you have the movement on the cab. And there he is. And obviously with the guns, you have 2 choices that I have seen. I mean, there's the official, they peg in here. And obviously the same on the other side. I don't really like how that looks. So you can slot them together like that. And kind of hook it in like that. And then he carries it on top. And that works as well. For me, I'm going to have him displayed in his robot mode, so it's irrelevant. Unfortunately, there is nowhere to display this guy in truck mode. So there's no storage. It would have been nice if there'd been somewhere on the underside of the cab here that he could have kind of just clipped and been hidden away, or if he could have, if there'd have been somewhere under here he could have clipped and been hidden away, or if he could have gone in there, or in the foot maybe, even that would have worked, but there isn't anywhere to store him, so he kind of just rests or drives alongside the car. Now obviously you can put cars inside the trailer for Ultra Magnus. I have found that the kind of legend scale works best with him. That kind of looks a bit better, but if you want, you can fit the Classics Generations scale on him as well, and obviously his feet will come down, which I'm not sure if he's going to, yeah, he will, and then just drive them in. So yeah, that is Ultra Magnus, and he's an awesome figure. I really like this guy. He is just a great example of the really good work that Hasbro are doing these days with the Combiner War series. I haven't had anything from them so far that I've been disappointed with, really. I mean, you all know, if you've watched any of my other reviews on the Combiner War stuff, how I felt about Alpha Bravo, but even he was a good figure. I mean, you don't think from anything I've said that I didn't think he was a good figure. And so everything that's come out so far from Hasbro is really putting all the third-party stuff to shame, in my opinion, because their prices are so much better, but their figures are still really, really good. I mean, you look at the sculpting on this guy, and you play around with it, and I genuinely don't feel like anything is going to break on him. So yeah, that's Leader Class Ultra Magnus. What do you guys think? Have you got him? Are you going to be getting him? Let me know what you think. Thanks for watching, and go and check out the links, as I said at the start, they're all down there. And yeah, thanks for watching, guys. See you later. Bye.